We do have a quorum, so we'll call this meeting to order. And starting off, we have citizens' comments. Angie?
No, sir.
With that, item number 1, consider and take action on minutes from previously held meeting of Commissioners Court on March 19th, 2019. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Hearing no corrections or omissions, Judge, I move that we accept the minutes as presented for the Commissioners Court regular session of March 19th.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesling, seconded by Commissioner McCam to approve the minutes of March the 19th as presented. All those in favor? Item passes. Item number 2, consider and take action to accept the racial profiling report for or from Henderson County Constable Precinct 4 for filing purposes only. Sheriff, if you don't mind, for sake of the audience, would you speak to what the racial profiling requirement is?
Yes, sir. This is a report that every law enforcement agency is mandated to file with the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. It must be filed down there by March 1st with their office, and then it's also got to be filed with the governing body of the law enforcement agency for filing purposes.
Thank you, sir. This particular one states that Constable 4 certifies it's not a policy of his agency to make traffic stops in a routine performance of his duties, so therefore there is this exempt. This is all he needs for his report, being it is exempt.
Some agencies do file exemptions, yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions on the report? Thank you, Sheriff.
No questions on the report. We have a comment.
Please.
Precinct 1 Constable, Fire Marshal, and the Sheriff, and now Precinct 4 have submitted those. Seems like there's 3 constables that were amiss in submission of this report.
We will make contact with those officers. If you would, Angie, make a note of it, that we reach out to those constables. Any further comments? Entertain a motion.
So moved to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesling, seconded by Commissioner Thomas to approve for filing purposes only the Constable 4 racial profiling report. All those in favor? Item passes. Item 3, consider and take action on refund request for overpayment of taxes from the Henderson County Tax Assessor Collector. Good morning.
Good morning. I've got 2 refunds. One is for an overpayment of taxes. It's our check number 86145 for $2,468.56. The other one is our check number 86251 for amount $6,444.81. It was paid in error. Mr. Jones bought the property in September, and Mr. Salzman paid the tax. So we are refunding it.
Questions?
No questions.
Commissioner Tooley?
No, sir.
Commissioner McKim? Commissioner Giesling?
The 2468, it's associated with the same property. Was it just paid twice?
I believe that's what Cindy said, that I think there was a partial payment made on it and a check was lost in the mail.
Oh, that was the 1861 in
That
the
was
backup
it.
that you sent.
Right,
It was
so we reversed that,
1861, and then the
we
same
just-
property that's associated with the 2468.
Right.
And 56 cents is the last one in the backup. So it was paid twice, or you say it's lost?
Well, there was a balance due is what I'm guessing from Cindy. She can't talk, so I just was asked to come. So she said that it was overpayment, and looking at the way the records go, we posted the first payment, then we received the check for the additional, so we refunded the first, took the payment to pay off the account, and refunded the difference.
Okay. So there may have been some of these other counts.
That were not included. Correct.
Okay. So some of those were the wrong amount was paid on some of the other accounts as well. So you took it all, and that's the 24 is the 2400.
No, it was my understanding that just the one account, the 065401330 account, was
Yep.
the only one due, and they reversed it and took it so we could pay off that account and refund the difference,
All right.
is what I'm seeing.
Well, if you go to the very first one in the backup, that's the same account number, the 065401330. And that's where I made the comment that there was $1,861 paid against that account. That's what got me confused.
I don't know what you did. But yeah, that's the one that we reversed, refunded, paid the difference to pay it off with the other check that came in.
Oh, okay.
So then that's the difference of the two. Does that make
All right.
sense?
Well, it makes sense, but it was still confusing that the last one against the same account was exactly the amount they paid, which was the $24.68.56. And I was kind of confused how much was because it says the tax levy on that property was $18.61 on the first one, and then on the same account on the bottom it says there was no tax levy. So that must have been the second check that came in, which was for $24.68, and why they wrote a check for $24.68 is beyond me. That's what you're refunding, because the real tax levy was $1,861.
But I believe the check that they received that where this refund came from was over $3,000.
Oh,
And I don't see this in her.
well, I
This
can
first one
only
is the
speak to
original
what I
receipt, then she
received.
refunded it and then took it for the
Right.
exact amount and refunded the difference.
Okay. As I've said before, it makes it real difficult for us.
I understand.
I mean, I try to make rhyme and reason and sense out of what is said that we're supposed to review so that we make correct motions and actions at this Commissioner's Court. I thought I had it figured out, but now I'm as confused as I was when I looked at it the first time. So, anyway, I suppose Smithson Rental Management overpaid.
That's correct.
Any further questions, comments? If not, entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, seconded by Commissioner Tooling. Excuse me, to approve the refund request of overpayment of taxes. Any further comments? If not, all those in favor? Item passes. Item 4, consider and take action on Henderson County 911 Communication District budget for the fiscal year of May the 1st, 2019 to April 30th, 2020. And we have Mr. Brown with us today. Good morning. Morning.
Good morning. How would you like me to proceed? Do you have questions to start off, or would you like me to do
If
kind
you
of an
would,
overview?
if you would, for ourselves and the public, give us an overview on what you have presented.
This budget would be for our new fiscal year starting May 1st through April 30th of next year. A few things to note. The continued decline in revenues. Those are brought about by wireline fees. I keep thinking that figure's going to hit the bottom and bottom out, but it hadn't found the bottom yet. So we continue to lose money on those things, and that reflects in our total income projection being about $15,000 less than it was last year. Other things to note there are we have to, because of Microsoft's discontinuation of support for our operating system, both at the 911 centers and in our office, we're forced to replace all that hardware because we cannot upgrade the existing hardware to the new Windows 10 and Server 2008. So you'll see the under line item, equipment upgrade current, that reflects the cost to upgrade all that equipment. Also, on the line item for 911 network and database, there's an increase there from last year because we're going to do some additional network to help put some more redundancy in the network. Today, some of our centers are only connected to the network with one connection, and we're going to upgrade that to 2 connections, just to add some redundancy into those centers.
The second connection, will that be on a different path, different carrier?
As different as we can make it. However, we all know that last mile from the street to the center is probably going to be in the same conduit. But outside of that, we try to make it as redundant as necessary. We actually pay extra for that network so that the carriers will make sure that it's not sitting on the same circuit card, routers and things like that.
Right. It should have diverse path,
yes,
not running through the same switch.
Yeah. Right. For example, at the Henderson County Sheriff's Office, today they're connected through a route through Houston. The new route will go through Dallas.
Okay. That's what I wanted to hear.
And again, it's as much as you can get at the time without spending money to bury cable and fiber and all that. Those additional expenses to upgrade all that equipment in the network will cause us to dip into our reserves in the neighborhood of $439,000. And that's why it's important that we have those reserves when these types of things come up. As we all know, Microsoft can do as they please with supporting or not supporting systems, and if they decide they're not going to support it, we can't use it. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions or try to.
Commissioner Thomas?
How much is the increase? I've been off the court for a couple of years.
Sure.
So what is how much was the budget last year? I didn't look.
The budget last year was a total of $751,000.
Okay.
So we we're looking at a decrease in revenue of about $15,000 while we increase cost for network and
so
hardware.
About $15,000 is what you think you've lost from wireless?
It's mostly wireline.
Wireline. I got you. Okay, thank you.
As we all know, more and more people are not getting the phone hardwired in the house. They're using cell phone.
Exactly.
Commissioner Tootle?
I don't know who feeds off of who, the fire department, sheriff department, and all that kind of stuff, because I haven't got down in deep into it, but when the things that we're looking at as Commissioners Court in emergency management and stuff like that, is all this new upgrades and everything going to work in conjunction with what one of our committees is doing right now?
Well, to a certain degree. The legislation that set up the 911 district is very specific on what we can and can't spend money on. The general rule of thumb is 911 can pay for delivery of the 911 call to the center and aid the center in dispatching of that call.
I'm talking about the the money that you're going to be spending on the equipment upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to work in conjunction with the digital apparatus? And
yeah, because what this equipment that we're going to upgrade or actually is going to replace is the equipment that the call takers use to answer 911 calls. It includes their 911 screen and their map screen for the 911 call.
Okay.
Now it will interface with those dispatch systems because it's an open architecture, so we can just integrate with that.
Okay. No more questions, Judge.
Commissioner McCann?
I would suspect, just like you, that your revenue is going to go down until it finds a stopping point.
Yes.
With wireline services as people continue to get off the wireline service, but are y'all's reserves in good shape?
So far, for what we can see, say 5 years out, we should be fine. There was some pending legislation, but it never made it out of committee, that had an opportunity to maybe increase some revenues. There are certain types of communications where you can dial 911, you can call 911, but you don't pay the 911 fee, VoIP and Wi-Fi. And there's been some legislation or talk about in the rural committees about passing that 911 fee on to those types of communication as well. So we'd increase our base a little bit. However, as we all know, nobody likes to stand up and propose a tax or what's perceived as a tax. So those didn't get out of committee this session, but they are being talked about.
That's all.
Commissioner Giesling?
Not to be redundant, I don't think anyone was surprised to see that the wire line continues to go down. I am surprised not to see voice over IP not increasing a little bit more than it is. Because it seems to be relatively flat over the last couple of years.
It has been relatively flat. I've completed an audit of them this year, and we found a few that weren't paying the proper amount, and we're working through those. We're also working with the state to make sure that we've got all of those VoIP providers identified that provide the service in this area, so that we can make sure they're doing their deal, remitting those fees as they're supposed to be. Just last month, we found one that was remitting to Kaufman County who shouldn't have been remitting here because of that Maybank area. They get confusing.
All right, so there is possibly some additional revenue that can be found in that area.
Yes, sir. I'm watching that. I watch that every month.
Okay. The $15,000 we spend with Code Red, what do we get for that $15,000?
That's the yearly subscription for that service. We get right at 150 to 200 minutes worth of available airtime to use that system. We can use it. Are we
using those minutes?
No, sir. We haven't used them since I've been here.
So we're paying for something that we're not using. Judge, help my memory here. I mean, the Code Red issue came before the Commissioner's Court back in 2008, 9, 10. I think it's come before one time since I've been on the court, and we've always decided not to be involved to any great extent with Code Red.
Yes. Originally, there was another service that did the callback. There were two, and I cannot remember the name of that one, but there was
First Call,
and then Code Red. And the 911 district at that time was with First Call, and other 911 districts was using Code Red. There was even some additional funding available to assist with Code Red. The county received some of that assistance and for emergency management, and basically for 1 year we had two. We had the one at the 911 district and one for the county's use. Since then, Code Red bought out First Call, and now they are one, and the 911 district went with that, stayed with Code Red, which was then the other company. So, yes, your memory is correct. There's been several instances where we've had them before them, but after the buyout, it all became one, and the issue faded away.
Okay.
And I believe the last time it was used was during our water, the last year that Commissioner Thomas was on the court.
Yes, it was used in the spring of 2016.
Right.
Yeah, for a boil water notice.
Thankfully, there has been not a need for the call-out service.
And again, it's one of those things like insurance, right?
Right.
Exactly. Okay. I was just wondering how many minutes we got for the $15,000 and what the utilization has been.
And it gives you the ability to go over that if you need to at a must-reduce rate. But I'd be glad to send you some more information on it if you'd like.
No, that's fine. I appreciate the update.
Any further? Any further questions, Commissioner Giesman?
No further questions. Sorry, Judge.
Mine is wireless continuing to climb, or is it beginning to level off as well?
It's starting to level off. One thing we noticed was that in prepaid wireless, and that's paying the 911 fee that's collected when they buy the prepaid minutes, those have really flattened out.
Okay.
And in fact, the state comptroller started looking at it because at one month they collected 0 fees in that deal. And it was just a fluke month and they actually didn't collect any.
Right.
So it seemed to have leveled off.
Well, you can reach a level in saturation, market
Right.
saturation, and that's what I feel that we're seeing a saturation of that, such as you were hoping we would bottom out in the hard line as
Yes.
well, but as it continues on. Okay, I will say, go ahead, sir.
You bring up an interesting point. I mean, with wireless services, the customer has the ability today to really not even use the cell phone. You know, they can make the call over the internet. And are those calls being made skirting the system for any fees associated with 911?
Some do. If you use your smart laptop or tablet and across the Wi-Fi and use that to call 911, that does not incur a fee. And there are a couple, in Alabama is one now that's proposing new legislation to pass that fee on to all and change the wording. Today in Texas, it says anything that is a local exchange access line or equivalent.
That's right.
Well, it gets a little bit gray on equivalent. So some states are trying now to bring that back down and say, if you can communicate to 911, then you collect the fee, no matter how you do it. And of course, depending on what side of the street you're standing on, people support it, or there's a group saying, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, it goes back to what you originally said about Code Red. It's an insurance policy. Folks, of course, do not like to pay taxes. Folks realize that fees are a form of taxes. However, when they have an emergency, they expect 911 to work.
Absolutely.
And if there are no fees collected to upgrade and maintain the 911 system, then it will go the way of many other things. When you need it, it will not be there.
Right.
So, as much as I hate to see all of the charges on a wireline phone bill, the 911, I never had a problem with, because that is a service being provided to the public, and the public should be willing to assist in making sure that system is up to date and always there when you need it. So, if we as a court need to help you in resolutions to the legislature to support revenue generation for 911, I'd like to see that type of document come to the court.
I appreciate that, and I'll make sure I'll let you know if something's coming up.
Well, I will add a couple of things and then we'll move on. One, how fortunate we are as a county to have our own 911 district. Many don't know that there was a great expanse where if you did not have a 911 district, all of the fees went to Austin and then were divvied up and sent back. In this instance, since we have our own 911 district, our fees stay in the county. And that is one of the most important things when it comes to supplying these services is having access, because as we know, once money goes to Austin, it doesn't come back in the same form it left is. But
And when it goes to Austin, then it still doesn't come back to Anderson County. It goes to the COG, and then the COG sends it to Anderson County, which is part of the East Texas Council of Government Organization 911.
But with that also, Mr. Brown, thank you for coming to present to us. I want to point out the Vice Chairman, Mr. Hugh Armstrong, thank you for being here. And also the loss of Miss Patty Bell.
Yes.
Long time GIS manager is heartfelt from all of us. Great lady that was actually, no offense, she's been there since the inception, and she's going to be a great loss for the organization.
Made my life a whole lot easier.
Yeah, so good luck in finding someone to fill her position, because you won't be able to replace her.
That's true, I appreciate that.
Any other comments?
I would going to say the same thing. It's a tremendous loss to you, to the 911 organization in Henderson County. It's a huge loss to Henderson County. She kind of grew up with Esri, the mapping software.
Yes.
And that is what is going to be so very difficult for you to find a replacement for Pat. And I'm concerned about your budget, because it may cost two people to replace one with everything that she did, because she could do it so well, because she knew it from the ground up, learned it from the ground up. So it's a huge, huge loss.
Yeah. In the 2 years I've been there, I haven't stumped her yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion.
So moved to accept.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesling, seconded by Commissioner Thomas, to approve and accept the Henderson County 911 Communication District budget for May of 2019 through April 30th, 2020. Any further comments? If not, all those in favor? Item passes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Item number 5, consider and take action on interlocal agreements with the Athens Independent School District, Eustace Independent School District, City of Athens, City of Chandler, Gun Barrel City, and the City of Seven Points for the May 2019 elections. Denise.
Yes, sir. How are y'all?
Great.
Yes, we do. We have 7 entities for this May 4th election. And so we're preparing for those right now. Of these elections, Eustace ISD is conducting their early voting. We're conducting everything else for them. That includes their absentee ballots. And everybody else, City of Athens, Athens ISD, they're going to be joint, and they're going to be conducted at the Henderson County Election Center, both on early voting and election day. City of Paine Springs will be conducted in City of Paine Springs. City of Seven Points, first time in a long time that they've had an election with us. And I believe one of their candidates just passed away, so he's going to have to stay on the ballot. City of Gun Barrel will also have an election, and so will City of Chandler.
Questions?
City of Seven Points, that surprised me. How'd that come about? They've never.
I know, it's been years. She called me and she asked me if we would conduct it, and I sent her the estimate, and it was actually a pretty high estimate because of the fact that we just purchased our equipment and everything. And I sent it to her, just assuming that she would just not have it with us. And she called me and she said, no, we're going to go ahead and let you conduct it. I believe that they've been getting a lot of voters call not wanting them to conduct it. Therefore, they wanted to go with the county so that they wouldn't have any part of it.
Well, I was glad to see that. Because they hadn't participated before, so.
Right.
I was really glad.
Well, I'm glad you were glad.
Yeah. Well, I've spent a lot of time up there in that part of the world. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Not a problem.
Anyone else? Denise, I'm sorry, you mentioned Payne Springs?
Yes. And you know what? I noticed that it's not on here, and I didn't know, did you have the contract in there?
It wasn't in.
She was they're one of those that come afterwards, after my deadline, and they come in, so we've already have all their stuff processed. I'll just bring it over for the next court date.
Okay, for the next court. To streamline, County Attorney, could we add Payne Springs' approval into this?
I think you could probably do it under
Under a different.
general contract section. But I don't think you can add under this.
Okay. We could do it later on this agenda under contract?
Under contract, yeah.
Would that suffice and help you out?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. I would ask that any motion made be made with all necessary signatures due to the multiple requirements, multiple signatures that are required on this contract. Any other comments? If not, entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, Judge, that we approve interlocal agreements with Athens ISD, City of Athens, Eustace, Chandler, Gun Barrel, and 7 Points.
Eustace ISD.
And Eustace ISD, I'm sorry.
With all necessary signatures?
With all necessary signatures, yes, sir.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner Tooley to approve the contracts with all necessary signatures. Any further comments? If not, all those in favor? Item passes. Item number 6, consider and take action on affidavit agreement for the disposition of obsolete Hart InterCivic voting equipment. Ms. Hernandez.
Me again. I guess when we originally did our contract, way back when, it was stated in the contract somewhere where once we ended our contract with them, then we would hand over the equipment that could not be removed, the software that could not be removed from those pieces of equipment, which would include our e-scans, our JBCs, our e-slates, and our DAOs. And the affidavit is a release of that equipment to them, and I've given you all a copy of it. At first, we were concerned with the fact that we were going to give it back to them and they were going to resell. But after speaking with Sheila Myers, and she wrote an email that I forwarded to you about them destructing the equipment and then sending us a certificate of destruction. On this affidavit, I've listed how many pieces of equipment that will be returned to them, which is the 40 JVCs, the 85 e-slates, the 80, well, let me put my glasses on, 89 DAOs, and the 8 e-scans that we've stored over there in the drive-through currently. We just need to approve the signature and release of that equipment to Hart InterCivic. The purpose of that is so that you don't have hackers trying to come in and talk about how it could be, manipulated or any votes in that system. Therefore, I request that we release the equipment to them so that they can destruct it for us. Because if we're going to hold it for a long period of time, eventually we're going to have to pay someone to come and destroy it for us, and it's going to cost us money. If they take it, it's not going to cost us anything. They're going to come pick it up, and then they're going to destroy it. Then they'll give us our certificate.
Questions?
And they're coming to our facility to get it. I didn't understand that side of it.
Yes, they'll come and get it.
Commissioner Taylor?
No questions.
Commissioner McCann?
No question.
Commissioner Geasley?
Well, a couple of years ago, we bought some surplus equipment. Did you talk to other election administrators to see if there was any interest?
Yes, I believe Jennifer had it on the listserv, but there was no takers on it. Currently, you have just about all your counties are looking to purchase, and so they're not wanting to purchase the older equipment. For one reason is that it's becoming obsolete to actually find the parts to replace those and repair those equipment.
Okay. Well, the email from Jennifer said it was on the purchasing listserv. I was wondering is there a listserv for
Yes, we do.
election administrators?
Of course.
That's what I thought. Was it posted on that listserv as well?
Well, I've spoke with other counties. You know, I just came back from my SERA classes, and everybody there was already in contract to purchase.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that generation of hard equipment is end of life.
Yeah, the only person that I thought that possibly would be interested would be Henderson County. You know, they're our neighboring county, but they actually already use a different company, so they wouldn't be.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, it is safe to say that we got every penny we could out of the system.
I think so.
And considering that we started in 2005 and got this long out of it and was able to replace the system for just about the same amount we gave for this system over the last, 15 years.
15 years.
Any other comments? Our county attorney, were you fine with the affidavit you reviewed? Okay. With that, entertain a motion.
So moved to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesland, second by Commissioner McCam to approve the affidavit agreement for the disposition of obsolete Hart InterCivic voting equipment. All those in favor? Item passes. Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Item 7, consider and take action to authorize up to $400 out of the Healthy County Fund for a Healthy County Luncheon on April 4th, 2019. Mr. Bynum.
Yes. I'm not totally prepared. I was looking for my backup, but she's not in here. So as y'all know, several times last year we come to the court to ask for some funds from Healthy County to put on some different luncheons and things like that. And of course, that's what we're here today to do as well. We normally never spend up to the dollar amount that we ask, but we also don't have a number of participants that's actually wanting to participate in the luncheon. We've actually got someone from Texas Association of Counties that's going to come and do a presentation on nutrition. And so at that time, we're also going to do a luncheon at the same time to get people involved to help us through this year. I will say this, is last year, as most of y'all know, the year before we only had 17 participants. Last year, I'm happy to say that we actually had 81 participants. Off the top of my head, I think that we had 54 that actually completed everything, and through Texas Association of Counties, when we have participants that participate in this particular program, the county, we actually get, I think it's $50 per participant. I don't know that total if we got those funds in yet. I do know as of December, the balance for the Healthy County Fund was $12,207 and some change. So I don't think that we've received those funds, and that's actually been applied to that balance there as of December. But I do know that we're probably looking at gathering, maybe, I think, adding another $2,700 to that, because I think we had a total of 54, and I may be off on that number just by a couple, but I know I'm not far. So that's the reason why we want to do this. We want to try to kick the program off big again. As you know, last year we did a lot. We kind of dangled a carrot in front of everybody to get participation to grow. It did happen, so I'm really excited about that. I know after our Christmas party this past year, I had a lot of phone calls, and a lot of people that actually sit on that committee did as well. So I'm actually thinking that the program's going to grow a lot more this year. So I would say out of an average of 375 plus employees, full-time employees, I'd like to see that number get up to 150. But I will say that 81 is a lot better than 17 from what we had the year before. So I'm pretty proud of that. So all I'm asking is that we're able to use up to $400 in the Healthy County Fund to be able to provide this luncheon that we're going to be doing on, I think, April the 4th. And that'll be from like 11:30 to 1:30, and our TAC rep will actually be here to put on the program for us. And that's going to be actually held in this room right here so that we can use the kitchen facility as well.
Questions for Mr. Bynum? Comments?
Of course. Anyway, I'd like to. And it's $50. You know, you get a $50 gift card.
And that as well, I left that out. The
Yeah.
participants, if they complete, I think, 3 out of the 4 challenges, they also get a gift card. I think that's from Amazon. So that's great. Last year we had to kick it off. We had a kind of a walk-a-thon type thing that everybody walked to the Kiwanis Park, and that's where they had their lunch, but they had to walk down there to get their lunch. But we kind of had some negative feedback about that, because we want to be able to, as well. And I will say that at Precinct 3, I pretty much had every one of those gentlemen participate last year closer to the top. So they said that they're more concerned about West Texas this year than they are East Texas. So that's something else that's really good. So
Quite an improvement. Questions, comments?
Did you get those kidney stones before you started?
I want to not have them again. Whatever that is, I want to not have them.
Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion. We approve the Healthy County Fund to authorize $400 for a meeting and lunch for April the 5th or April the 4th.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner Tooley to authorize the $400 from the Healthy County Fund. All those in favor? Item passes.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 8, consider and take action to accept $1,240.41 for material and labor from Atmos for damaging culvert on County Road 1205 located Precinct 1. Commissioner Thomas.
Yes, Court. On County Road 1205, that's actually located in the Tri-Cities area. There was a drilling rig moved in. It actually made too short a turn with too much weight and too much length and damaged the culvert and my ditches on 1205. So we went out and added some culvert to it and added some material and cleaned the ditches out. So this check today is helping pay for some of that work that was done, and they gladly accepted the responsibility and sent me a check. So that's this morning. That's what I'm presenting to the court is a $1,240.41 for those repairs.
Any questions for Commissioner Thomas? If not, entertain a motion.
If there's not any questions, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the donation from Atmos Energy for $1,240.41 for material and labor for damaging culvert on 1205 located in Precinct 1. And I have the check with me today.
I'll second the motion.
That's the end of the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner McCann to accept the payment for damages to a culvert on County Road 1205. Any further comments?
That's right.
If not, all those in favor? Item passes.
Thank you, Court.
Item 9, and I've been waiting for this one. Consider and take action to appoint a member of the Commissioners Court to the Executive Committee of the East Texas Council of Governments. I put this on the agenda in keeping with tradition. A member of the court sits on that executive committee. I took over after Commissioner West almost 8 years ago. And moving from commissioner to this position has been the history of the county that a commissioner holds this position. And I will add to it that it is the senior commissioner that has held this position. And I'm putting this on here to ask for 2 of you to put Commissioner Giesland on the committee, not to lead you or anything else. It has been a very rewarding experience for me to be a part of the COG and sitting on that committee. But
Do they have to go to meetings?
yes, it does require meeting attendance, but they do feed you, but not Healthy County. So
No, that's not good for you.
It is an important position. It really does, because it helps give oversight. This 14-county region, as many of you know, gives oversight to the $42 million plus that comes in through that organization. 28, almost 30 million of it is directed directly at workforce. The workforce buildings and organizations that you see, the one we have here in Athens across from the jail, is directly funded from this, and of which the involvement of the executive committee is crucial. The area Department of Aging, many programs through there, nutrition, Meals on Wheels. There's more things. There's 911 for the region.
Come on.
Too many to speak to.
Oh, come on. You've got to mention my favorite one.
No, I was not going to mention GoBus.
No
GoBus is a service that we depend
Transportation.
upon. It is a fee-for-service, not a fixed route. And with fee-for-service, you see a lot of empty buses going and coming. So, but with that, Court, I will put it in your hands.
Judge,
as how we
thanks for
proceed.
the last 8 years
No, thank you.
of serving Henderson County on East Texas Council of Governments, and I move to appoint Commissioner Giesland from the Henderson County Commissioners Court to the Executive Committee of the East Texas Council of Governments.
I'll second his motion.
Have a motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Thomas, to appoint Commissioner Giesland to represent Henderson County Commissioners Court on the Executive Committee of the East Texas Council of Governments. Are there any comments?
The only comment was on Friday afternoon, late, when your able assistant had sent out the agenda, and I reviewed it quickly, and I saw this on the agenda. I walked out to get something from my truck, and guess what I saw going up County Road 4719?
A GoBus.
A GoBus, and I thought, what an omen. And guess how many were riding on the GoBus? Nada. Another omen. You really think they want me on that committee?
I believe that it truly will be a good fit. I really do. I don't mean that. No, it is a rewarding position. It truly is when you see the impact that you have across the community. And anytime you have an organization that large and with so many federal rules, it can be frustrating, to say the least. But it has been my pleasure to serve.
Well, thank you for doing it, as Commissioner Tooley said.
And you're close to Kilgore. You're not that far across there to Kilgore.
Thanks, Gus.
It's a short drive. Shorter drive for you.
Yes, indeed.
Commissioner Giesland will be the 4th senior commissioner to hold that in concession, and thank you for accepting it. So with that, I'll call for a vote. Abstention?
I abstain.
Motion passes 4-0 with Commissioner Giesland abstaining. Thank you, sir, very much. Item 10, receive financial reports. We have a report from JP2. And I remind everyone these will be available for viewing after court in the county clerk's office. Item 11, consider and take action on payroll distributions and accounts cash sheets. Ms. Harris.
We do have payroll totals for biweekly 6.
Questions?
No.
No questions, Judge.
Hearing none, entertain a motion.
So moved to approve payroll distributions for biweekly number 6.
Second.
Second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesland, second by Commissioner Tooley, to approve the payroll distributions. All those in favor? Item passes.
And I also have the February account balance sheet.
Questions?
No questions.
Entertain a motion.
So moved, Judge.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner McCam, to approve the accounts cash sheet. All those in favor? Item passes. Item 10, consider and take action on submitted contracts. And we mentioned previously the Payne Springs to hold elections for the city of Payne Springs, which is currently the same contract as we approved earlier. There'll only be a slight difference in the fee, or is the fee the same?
No, the fee's going to run around the same. It's going to be around 8,600.
Okay.
And it's a proposition. It's the road maintenance proposition that's going to be.
And that fee is derived from our schedule?
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions? If not, entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, seconded by Commissioner Thomas to approve the contract with the city of Payne Springs to hold election in May of 2019 with all necessary signatures, gentlemen.
Yes.
And I'll bring that over later this afternoon.
Thank you, ma'am. Any further comments?
Yes.
Yes.
How do these cities and school districts, do they pay? Do they pay before the election or after the election?
It's in our contract for them to pay before, but very rarely will we get it before. And it's kind of hard to keep their election from going since we've already started that whole process of it. And so it is in the contract for them to pay 30 days prior, but I don't get it. And the reason for that too is because we have additional costs that incur during the election, like the absentee ballots when we have to charge them, and also the ballot board members who come in to actually look over the provisional ballots and the absentee ballots.
So let's just say a city is going to be $8,500, then it could turn out that it could be $9,500 at the end.
It's not gonna go up that high. At most, the school districts have more of the absentee ballots that go out. And if it's on a joint ballot, then they share that cost. It usually runs about $1.50 per ballot, the whole process, sending out the application and receiving the ballot and sending the ballot out.
Okay.
So.
Any further questions, comments? If not, all those in favor? Item passes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mary Margaret, would you note this discussion real well in the minutes? Please, ma'am. Thank you. Item 14, consider and take action on submitted budget amendments. No, excuse me, did I skip over one?
Right away.
Oh, excuse me, right-of-way permits.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And it is?
And also there was one that was placed up here
Okay.
for Precinct 3.
Okay, let's do the one in the packet first.
All right.
Precinct 4.
There's a request from Encore. They're replacing a power pole at the La Pointer School. I have no problem at all with what they're doing because they're really replacing a pole on US 175, but they're staging equipment on our county road, 43, 44. So I have no problem with Encore staging their equipment for that activity. Shouldn't take them any more than 2 or 3 hours to complete the task.
Questions for Commissioner Giesling? If not, entertain a motion.
So moved to approve the right-of-way permit for Encore to stage equipment on 4344 with authorization for the Precinct 4 Commissioner to sign.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesling, second by Commissioner Tooley to approve the right-of-way activity permit on County Road 44 with Commissioner Giesling's authority to sign. All those in favor? Item passes.
And I also have one in Precinct 3, Moore Station Water Supply. It's a road bore on 3414 for a new service.
Questions for Commissioner McCam?
If there are none, I'd move that we accept the right-of-way permit from Moore Station Water Supply for a road bore under 3414.
Second this motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, seconded by Commissioner Giesland to approve, yes, sir.
With my signature.
To approve the right-of-way agreement for a road bore under County Road 3414 with Commissioner McCam's authority to sign. All those in favor? Item passes. Now, item 14, consider and take action on submitted budget amendments. Thank you, ma'am. Item 15, consider and take action on payment of bills.
Yes, sir. This morning, our total for bills is $132,780.68.
Commissioner Thomas, any questions?
I have no questions, Judge.
Commissioner Tooley?
None.
Commissioner McCam?
I had none.
Commissioner Giesland?
I was just happy to see one of our appointed attorneys is paying his income tax early this year. No other comments.
With that, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Thomas, to approve bills in the amount of $132,780.68. All those in favor? Item passes. Item 16, consider and take action on submitted plats.
No plans.
Thank you. Item 17, open and consider bids.
No bids, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 18, convene into executive session pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 551.072 regarding entering into a contract for the purchase of real property in Precinct 2. And as we're signing everything, we can decide on when we want to go into it as a time. Commissioner, do you have the original on your notice?
I have,
Angie,
Okay.
could you print that one of Encore's so I can sign it? I inadvertently didn't print a copy out. Thank you. Everything good? Gentlemen?
10-10.
10-10? Is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a second?
What's the motion?
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Giesland to move into executive session at 10:10. With that, all those in favor? Item passes. We'll go in executive session then and do our business and then return. Thank y'all for being a part. Feel free to hang around afterward. Okay. Item 19, reconvene into open session. We need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesland, second by Commissioner Thomas to reconvene into open session at 11:05. All those in favor? Item passes. So now let's consider and take action on issues discussed in executive session pertaining to real property purchase negotiations. Comments? We did discuss property in Precinct 2, county attorney. Much information was presented. Is there any action that we wish to take?
Do you want me to make the motion?
Yeah.
The action taken by the Commissioner Court in executive session is to authorize the Commissioner of Precinct 2 and joined with the county attorney to continue negotiations on the purchase of real property adjacent to the Precinct 2 yard.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesland, second by Commissioner McCam, to authorize Precinct 2 Commissioner in consultation with county attorney to continue negotiations for procurement of property.
I said enjoined, but
Excuse me. Your choice. Enjoined at the Precinct 2 barn facility. Any further comments? If not, all those in favor?
I'm abstaining.
Commissioner Tooley abstains. Passes 4-0. With that, item 20, consider and take action to adjourn.
So moved, Judge.
Motion made by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner Giesland to adjourn. All those in favor? Item passes. We'll remind everyone we had a workshop scheduled for 9:45 today. We can go ahead and call it to order. Is what I would like to do at this point. We can then recess until after lunch, or we can go for an hour and try to wipe it out.
I move that we go for the hour, break for lunch, and come back.
I got to do that, something, because I'm starting to hurt a little bit. So y'all may have to continue without me.
Okay. Okay, you're good, moving right into it? Okay. Well,
It's a
then,
long way to drive to LaRue. It's to turn around and come back.
okay. Well, we will do that. We will call our workshop to order at 11:07, and we will get a hold of the Treasurer's Office to begin reboot our discussions on departmental budgeting in relation to the use of STW financial software.